welcome to Vlogmas. Come on in. Hello, this is Julie from the past. It is the evening of the 17th and I am making the dough for cinnamon rolls for breakfast on the 18th. So I thought I would put this little snip of video in and then in the morning show you me making them. So this is a small batch recipe and this little dough ball will make 2 cinnamon rolls for breakfast, which is just perfect when there are just 2 of you. I will link the recipe in the description box. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to day 18 of Vlogmas. My name is Julie. If you are a new viewer, welcome. If you are a returning viewer, welcome back. I'm very glad to have you here along for the ride for Vlogmas 2025. So without further ado, let's open today's Advent Mini. And for those of you who are new and may not have seen the earlier Advents, I made my own Advent last year using scrap yarns, and I hand rolled them into 10-gram minis, wrapped them up into little nuggets like this, and put them away. And I have not remembered what I put in the box, so it's been kind of fun. And the pattern that I chose to knit is the Litmus Cowl, and we'll get to that a little bit in a minute. So let's open today's mini and see what color it is. Oh, I could have sworn we already had this color. Did we? No, I guess we didn't. This is Knit Picks Stroll Tweed, and the color is, I'm pretty sure it's Prussian Heather. So the color that I put in yesterday was also Knit Picks Stroll Tweed, and it was North Sea Heather. So a much darker blue. And then we have this blue going in next to it. And actually these two colors, I made the Salish cap last year, and I used both of these colors held together to create a DK weight. And it was a pretty color with these two blues together. And earlier I told you I thought that was one of the Knit Picks colors, and it definitely is not, and I have no idea where I got this from, so I was incorrect about that color back there. So anyway, yesterday's color was Knit Picks Stroll Heather North Sea, and this is Knit Picks Heather Prussian Blue. So I had a request to talk a little bit more about the cowl that I am making for my Advent. So this pattern is the Litmus Cowl by Jude Harper, and it's a free pattern on Ravelry. And what you need for this project are 3.5 millimeter or US 4 needles. I should say circular needles, and these are 16-inch circulars, and I'm using Chalgu red lace just because that's my favorite cable. It doesn't hold any memory, so it's very smooth to knit with. So I just attached my interchangeables to the small cable circumference. So 3.5 millimeter US 4 16-inch circular needles. You need a stitch marker just to show you where the beginning of the round is. And the way that you make this cowl is you start by making a provisional cast on, which you can see here in this darker yarn. So I made my provisional cast on using a crochet hook, and there are lots of YouTube videos out there to show you how to do that. I personally find provisional cast on to be very fiddly, so it takes me a little while. And I'm also not a crocheter, so holding the crochet hook feels very alien to me, but that's what you do. So provisionally cast on 100 stitches. And once you've provisionally cast on the 100 stitches, then you just start knitting and adding your colors. So with my Litmus Cowl, I've just been adding one of my Advent colors each day. I knit to the end of the 10-gram mini, as close to the beginning of my round as possible, and then I add in my new color. And you may have noticed that not all of my stripes are the same length, and that's because all the yarn brands are different. So some are very fine fingering weight and some are a little fatter. But that's okay, because in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really matter. It's just a cowl. So you just continue adding in your colors. Now, if you look at the pattern on Ravelry, you'll see that the intended pattern has stripes of color interspersed with a main color. So there'll be a color, for example, a blue and then a cream stripe, and then the blue and a cream stripe, so that it looks more like a piece of litmus paper that you used in chemistry to check the pH of liquids. But it doesn't really matter. I mean, it's whatever you want to do. So if you look at some of the images on Ravelry where people have done it with a main color that alternates between their colors, it's very effective. And all of the patterns that people have made are just gorgeous. So I highly recommend that you go take a look and see if you can get some inspiration for yourself. So that is my Litmus Cowl. I hope that's all the information that you needed, that you wanted, and that it's helpful to you if you decide to make one yourself. So here's mine, squishy bundle of goodness. So yesterday I made some of my gift tags. I'm going to make some more today, and I will show you some of the designs that I've put together for my gift tags. And I started making breakfast for my husband and myself last night, and I did film a little bit of that. I made cinnamon rolls, and you need to let the dough sit in the fridge overnight. So I pre-prepped that video clip, and then I filmed this morning how you continue to make the cinnamon rolls for a delicious breakfast. So that's pretty much all I have going on today. Making some gift tags and hopefully getting to wrap some presents. I do need to get a wriggle on because I haven't wrapped anything yet, and visitors will be arriving very imminently, and I want to have a lot of that pre-prep already finished before that happens. So I will take you along with me today, and I hope you enjoy your day, whatever you're doing, and I will see you in a little while. Bye. So to make the evergreen tree that looks like it has snow on it, you need a small piece of watercolor paper, a watercolor brush, fine one. That's just a number 2 round brush. And not necessary, but if you have a little stamp, you can use that, or you can hand letter some words on your gift card. And then I have a fountain pen with black ink. So all you're going to do is, with the ink pen, is just draw a very messy Christmas tree. Like, we're talking not at all beautiful, with squiggly lines. and a trunk at the bottom. And then you can do some little curlicues inside the tree. Like this. So as you can see, it's not gorgeous. And then the magic happens with a wet brush. All you're going to do is drag your brush over the ink lines that you made. And wherever you leave white space, it looks like snow. So as I said, it has to be the kind of ink that is water soluble, so that it will smear when you put the ink, the watercolor brush to it. This is, oops, sorry, shook the camera. So basically you've pretty much made the ink lines disappear. And then the last thing I like to do is to drag a little bit of the ink across the bottom so that the tree doesn't look like it's floating in space. It looks like it has a bit of a shadow. So then you can just let this dry. I think I overworked it at the top. That's all right. And then once it's dry, you can stamp it, but I'll just go ahead and stamp it now so you can see. And if you don't have a stamp, you could just hand letter a Christmas message on your gift tag. And that's it. That's the first design. Snowy Christmas tree. And then, you know, you make a whole bunch of them and they all look a little bit different, which is super fun. So that's the one I just did. There's a skinny tree I did earlier. A couple I made yesterday where I left more of the ink line showing. So I'm just going to make a couple more of these. If you wanted to, you could embellish the Christmas trees with some colored dots. So let's make a different kind of tag. So we're going to make a tag with a wreath. So I have more watercolor paint. I'm just going to go in with a light brown. I'm just going to do some very light marks to make a wreath shape. Add some leaves.
And the more water you have, the lighter the green will be. The less water you have on the watercolour, the darker the leaves will be.
So I have some leaves, and now I'm going to put in some berries. So there is a little wreath. So that looks pretty cute. This one will take a little bit of time between each stage, and I think actually with this one I'm going to stamp first so that I know where I'm going. All right, now all I'm going to do with this one is make a series of colorful rectangles and squares, and I have some very nice paint, watercolor paints from Beam. They're out of Canada. I ordered these for myself last Christmas for my little present to myself. All right, one last design. And for this one, I'm using a fatter brush. I'm going to go in with some blue. And what I want to do is put, excuse the noise, on my ceramic palette, I want to do a puddle of blue. Just like that. Then I'm going to take my glue stick end and I'm going to dip it in this blue. And then I'm going to stamp a very rough circle. And another one. And one more. And then I take my small brush and gradually drag some of this into the center, this paint into the center of the bauble. I'm just going to dab a little of the metallic silver paint in there. I'll let that dry, and we'll add the extra embellishment when it's dried. We've reached the end of day 18 of Vlogmas. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Got a busy day tomorrow. We are heading off to pick up our son, who is spending the holidays with us. He's fortunate that he can work from home, so he can work from home for a few days before Christmas arrives, and I get to do the mom thing and feed food to my boy, even though he's a grown-up. He's 30 years old. I don't think we ever really stop being moms, do we? We continue to love and nurture our children, even though they are independent adults. So that's exciting, but it is a 4-hour round trip. So tomorrow is kind of a full-on busy day. So until tomorrow, I hope you enjoyed the rest of your day, and I will see you very soon. Bye-bye.